first up tonight. The extraordinary fallout from the October 9 pro-Palestinian protests that took place outside the Sydney Opera House and the police investigation into at least 5 eyewitness accounts that some of the 1,000 protesters were chanting, "Gas the Jews." Well, today, Police Commander Mal Lanyon, in a shock media appearance earlier today, said an expert in the area of audio identification had found the phrase was not "gas the Jews," but "where's the Jews?" Lanyon was very firm in defending the outcome of this police investigation.
Investigators engaged an eminent expert in biometric science. That expert has conducted an audio, visual and acoustic phonetic analysis of the audio-visual files. As a result of that examination, the expert has concluded with overwhelming certainty that the phrase chanted during that protest, as recorded on the audio and visual files, was "Where's the Jews?"
Now, in my view, this revelation is full of problems. Problems for Australia's and, in particular, Sydney's Jewish community. Problems for the police, who, with this finding, are suggesting that the 5 eyewitnesses were either lying or had misheard what was being chanted over and over again. And problems for the Minns Labor government, whose decision it was to illuminate the sails of the Opera House in the colours of the Israeli flag that night, but then sat back as violent pro-Palestinian protesters grew larger and larger and more provocative, and even warned Jews on that night to stay away. Now, since that night, Jewish people have been abused in the streets. Jewish businesses around the country have been targeted. Jewish schools feel threatened, and no one, including the police, seem to do anything about it. This has now turned into a national wave of anti-Semitism, with similar angry protests popping up nationwide. Now, the joint CEO of the Australian Council of Australian Jewry, Alex Rizgen, told Laura Jays earlier that Jews felt there was a lack of leadership at the top to make it clear these protests were getting out of hand.
The issue here isn't the precise wording that was used. The issue is that on the 9th of October, just 2 days after the Jewish people suffered the worst atrocity inflicted on them since the Holocaust, before Israel had even commenced its operation to defeat Hamas and rescue its hostages, a violent mob of thugs gathered in one of our most cherished sites to burn an Israeli flag, to celebrate these atrocities, and to direct hatred and abuse and threats towards their fellow Australians. The issue is that. It's not the precise wording. And as much as some see it in their interest to try to deflect and confuse the Australian public, that is the issue.
But I have another problem with what we learnt today, as we heard from Commander Lanyon. Their audio-video expert attached to a university somewhere says what was being chanted was, in fact, "Where's the Jews?" not "Gas the Jews." Police Command, in their media conference, didn't say that's what might have been said. They were unequivocal. The chant was, "Where's the Jews?" OK, let's accept that, but surely the only way you can interpret that is some of the 1,000-strong, agitated and vocal anti-Israel protesters were on a Jew hunt. Whipped up by flares, people in masks carrying Palestinian flags, agitated by a government decision to emblazon the Opera House sails in the blue and white of the Israeli flag. They were baying for some Jews to do what with exactly we don't know. But does anyone, New South Wales Police included, feel that this chant is any less disturbing or threatening than the original claim of "Gas the Jews"? In fact, it could be argued, and I am arguing this, that this is worse. No one was actually expecting anyone to gas someone, but a call for some Jewish scalps? I mean, that is just horrific. Now, Opposition Leader Peter Dutton's reaction, I think, summed it up.
It was a moment of national shame. It shouldn't have been allowed to take place. And the fact is that many people in the Jewish community across Australia, including here in Melbourne, are feeling very, very scared at the moment. The increased security that we see at Jewish schools is a stark reminder of the threat that people of Jewish faith face, not because of anything that they've done, but because of their heritage, because of their religion, because of who they are. It has no place in our country whatsoever.
I'll now be very interested to see how the various state premiers react, and surely it's time now to crack down on the more radical of these Palestinian protesters with a few arrests.